This is Night Owl, aka Steve. Steve was created on my iPad using an application called ArtRage. He is such a big deal to me that I named him Steve because he is my first ever iPad, cartoon, and animal creation. Firstly, let me tell you a little bit about ArtRage. ArtRage is an application that I can use on my iPad that can mimic artistic techniques, such as painting, which you see here on Steve. It also has some wonderful features like the undo button. Favorite thing ever. Wish I had those for painting with oils or even in my sketchbook with my markers. So let's take a closer look at Steve. I started Steve first with the background here, then included texturing it and coloring it with teal and green. Next, I followed it up with creating his actual shape, which is actually a 3 here and a backwards 3 here. Once I had the general shape of Steve, I began to create the feathers. The feathers here I took by taking my stylus and drawing down like this. Once I had the overall feathers for each part of Steve, I came behind it and began to shadow and shade one side for the dark and the other side for light. As my picture progressed, I decided that I wanted to make a more drastic change of my lights and darks. So I came into this side and taken a lot of dark and shaded it quite a bit here, trying to still keep Steve's general shape of his wings here and his little belly here. And then since the picture had things like teal, orange in them here, here, and here, I wanted to keep the same colors over here in my lighter sides of my feathers. You can even see some darker versions of the oranges here, which I'll zoom into here. You can notice that this eye is just a little bit bigger than this one. Being OCD, this bothers me a little bit, but the owl is too cute for me to go back and mess up now, so I'm just going to live with it. But I created his eyes to be a little bit bigger since he is a cartoon owl. The downside to ArtRage is things like right next to the eyes. I was not able to create the feathers quite like I was out here to the side. It's not very precise sometimes, and even if you have a thin line like this one here on his beak or even around the eyes, it's very hard to know exactly where your stylus or your finger is going to touch. But again, my favorite thing, the undo button. So, we'll zoom Steve back out here and take a good look at him and try to see what you think. Here's his 3 design, this feather texture. Try to darken him up a little here and there and make him look pretty good for, I think, my first ever cartoon or animal. So I feel very, very proud of myself. So here he is, Night Owl.